With us now are Frankie, John, and Stacy. They are not the Three Musketeers, but maybe we could call them the Three Musketeers. And they brought us a lot of music with Dirty Dancing. Welcome. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Nice.
Thanks for having us.
There we go. So Frankie, introduce yourself. We'll just go around the clock.
Yeah, Frankie Previte. I'm actually on the air from Oceanport, New Jersey,
Welcome.
down by Asbury Park.
Welcome. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Donna.
I'm Stacy Widelitz, composer and songwriter and photographer, and I live in beautiful Oak Hill, Tennessee, just south of Nashville.
And I'm John DeNicola. I'm upstate New York at the moment, near Delhi, Oneonta area. I'm usually in New York City, in the West Village, but been up here for a couple of years for obvious reasons.
Well, what's so wonderful is to have all three of you here together. As I was sharing with you when we were off camera, that Lou Vaccarelli he was in production and told us the stories before about the success of this, how it started out, and then they needed to have more records made and more records made and more records made. Individually, the three of you are all icons in the music industry, but collectively, you've worked on this project together. Since then, have you also collaborated on other things, or was this the one time that you all three came together?
Well, we actually didn't collaborate, all three of us. We all have, Stacy has his collaboration with Buddy, he calls him, Patrick Swayze. And John and I are the co-authors of I've Had the Time of My Life and his little brother, Hungry Eyes.
So Frankie and I have, we continued to work together through the years and written other songs and other movies, and none quite to the same popularity as Dirty Dancing, but we continued to work through the years, actually. And Stacy, we see every other week doing more Dirty Dancing interviews, but mostly Frankie and I, as far as writing. We ought to, three of us, write some stuff together.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe there's a song on the horizon for the new Dirty Dancing movie. We got to pressure them.
I would love nothing more than if the idea for that came here. I'd be like, ding! I'd be like, oh, look what happened. Dirty Dancing holds such an important place for so many people for so many reasons. But the music really does. I don't know. It's such a wonderful journey. It still holds true. Are there favorite moments, or like, who got the call from Einar first? Let's talk about how you each individually got involved. Was that you, Frankie?
Yeah, it was me. I was in a band called Frankie and the Knockouts back in the 80s that was on Millennium Records. Jimmy Einar was the president of that label. And we had a couple of a top 10 hit, Sweetheart, back in 1981. And 85, Jimmy decided he was going to close up shop and go into the film industry. And so I was back out selling cars out of my driveway, trying to get another record deal, writing songs for a fourth Frankie and the Knockout record, when Jimmy Einar, who was the president of that label, called out of the blue and said, let me change your life. And I said, you did that 2 years ago when you went into the film industry. He goes, no, I got this little movie I'd like you to write a song for. And I told him I was too busy, and he kind of talked me into writing a song. And I said, what's the name of the song, of the movie? And he said, Dirty Dancing. And then my first thought was, Jimmy's doing porn. That's what Jimmy's doing.
Of course you would have thought that, of course. And we'll just go around.
I thought, in my mind, who should I write something with? And at that time, I was working a lot with John. And John and I, tell her our very first song, John. What was the first song we wrote together?
Well, I had a track of music that a mutual friend, Frankie, was recording, and I was recording at a studio owned by David Prater. And I had put together this music that ended up being Hungry Eyes. So the first song that Frankie and I wrote together was Hungry Eyes.
Good start,
About
huh?
the fall.
That's good. It's just a little song like
But we
that.
did follow it.
Now, and Stacy, tell us about your connection and how this first came to be.
Well, not too long after I moved to Los Angeles in early 80s, I was in an acting class to play piano for a friend of mine. And when the class took a break, it turned into a whole discussion about musical theater. And when the class took a break, a guy came up to me who looked familiar, and he had this husky Texas accent. He said, my name is Buddy. I really like your piano playing and your discussion about theater and all this. And it was Patrick Swayze. But I was looking at him and I said, you look really familiar. And when his wife came over, we discovered that we lived right around the block from each other. I mean, 2 houses away. And
Really?
So he and I and his wife and my then girlfriend Wendy Fraser, who's the singer, female singer on She's Like the Wind. We all became friends. We started hanging out, and I had a background in music, dance, and I was writing music for television with Wendy actually. And in early '84, he was working on a movie called Grandview USA, and he called me up and he said they're looking for songs for Grandview. I've got an idea for a song that I've had for a couple of years. I can't get anywhere with it. Do you want to work on it? So I said, yeah, sure. So he came over that night with his guitar, and I was at the piano, and he had the first couple of opening lines, which was "She's like the wind through my tree, she rides the night next to me." I ended up rewriting the third and fourth lines. I came up with "She leads me through moonlight, only to burn me with the sun," which he said, "What the hell does that mean?" And I said, "I don't care, just write it down." And then we were off and running. But we did a great demo of it at the time with him singing it and Wendy on it. And I programmed all the synthesizers. And ultimately, Grandview didn't use the song, thankfully. And it sat in a drawer for 2 years. And I knew about Dirty Dancing. I had already met the writer Eleanor Bergstein and the choreographer Kenny Ortega. And he called me from North Carolina where they were shooting part of the movie. And he said, "Hey, I played She's Like the Wind for the director and the producers, and they love it and they want it for the film." And I was like, okay, that's great. You sure they're not just jerking you around again because you're the star? And he said, no, call this guy Jimmy Einer. So I got on the phone with Jimmy and said, no, we're serious. But I really wasn't that excited about it because the word on the street was it was a low budget movie that was going to be in the theaters for 1 week and then go straight to video. And
look at it now. Everybody was exactly. It's rare, I believe, that an entire soundtrack has so many great hits or so many great things about it. So collectively, it's just that magic. That magic that only a movie can really bring to life. They had also old songs on the soundtrack, right? That they revisited and brought to life in a new way. But congratulations and kudos to all three of you. And I know that there's something new that's happening, correct? What are they doing now with Dirty Dancing?
The word is that, yeah, go ahead, John.
No, I was going to say we know about it as much as you probably.
But it's just something that Jennifer is going to be involved in.
It's definitely a sequel, and it's
okay.
Set in the 90s.
Right.
Nice.
And obviously not replacing the Johnny Castle character because that was Patrick, and that's irreplaceable. So we're all very curious as to what it's going to be.
Well, if I hear anything, I'll let you know. I mean, like I said, I know Lou, who was the head of production, and one of the great stories he told me is that they kept just ordering more vinyl. As we wrap up, tell me, in your own thoughts, each one of you, what that meant to you when you realized that there were so many records on the street and people were just loving it.
It was fascinating because I remember specifically a conversation I had with Michael Lloyd, who produced She's Like the Wind. He also produced I've Had the Time of My Life. And he called me, and this is before my song was released as a single, but the soundtrack was #1. And he said, "Oh, guess what? You're getting a gold record." And so I said, "Oh, that's
Wow.
fantastic. I've never gotten a gold record." So then, like, I didn't know how it worked. Like a week and a half later, I called him and I said, "Does it get delivered, or do I go pick it up, or, you know?" And I said, "When do I get the gold record?" So he said, "Well, you're not getting a gold record." And I said, "What do you mean? You told me." And he said, "Well, now you're getting a platinum record,"
Oh.
which meant that it
Oh.
had gone from 1,000 to 1,000,000. And he said, "You're kidding." And he said, "No, last Sunday it sold 280,000 copies."
Wow.
And by the time I did receive my first platinum record, it was actually triple platinum.
Congratulations.
And the one behind me is 11 times platinum.
Wow. Congratulations. It's so wonderful. And John, you're still with us, right?
I am. Yeah, and that was back when records sold. You know, now it's
Right.
streaming and nobody makes any money. Well, somebody makes money, but it's not the artist, it's not the songwriter. It's somebody's making money, but it ain't us. When I first heard it on the radio, probably before it really took off. Of course, it's always an amazing moment. But in the beginning, I think that the film was pushing the song. You know what I mean? And then when the song caught on, it started to push the film. So it was a real symbiotic relationship that I think continues to this day. You know, now the song, at least The Time of My Life, is kind of synonymous with the movie. Yeah, I mean, it's been an amazing ride and sort of hard to believe, but good songs.
John
It makes
hit
you
on
feel like.
something.
What? I'm sorry, Stacy?
I was going to say, John hit on something that is a very special moment for songwriters and composers. I'd heard music of mine on TV and in theaters and all that, but I knew when that was going to be on. But when you're in your car and the first time your song comes on the car radio and you go, "Oh my God, that's it." And you pull over, at least I did. And I just sat there to listen to it, saying, "My God, I'm on the car radio." That's like part of almost like a folklore experience, you know, like you think of the movie That Thing You Do, where the kids are running down the street screaming because the song's on the radio. It's that type of moment.
I love that. And do you still sing that, like, to yourselves, the songs that you've written? Do you have your own playbook in your own head?
My playbook tends toward Rachmaninoff and some great composers and jazz people and all this. If it gets caught in my head, I listen to something immediately to try to. I don't want to be listening to that all day. I want to be listening to somebody else's work. So, but it's still. What's also wonderful is that She's Like the Wind has been covered many times.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
There was a hip hop hit in Europe, a hip hop hit here. A woman named Annie in Norway just covered it this past year. So to hear people reinterpreting it is fantastic.
Congratulations for that. And Stacy and of course Frankie had to drop off, and John, thank you so much. John, you guys, you are my songbook. Does that make sense to you? Like,
Yeah.
I graduated high school in 1983. I then went on to do videos for the Cardinals for their scoreboard, and I've used the song, correctly, with permission, of course, to do different things. But weddings, happy times, really the time of my life, right? It's so important to me, and I wanted to tell you personally, thank you so much. Thank you for your music. Thank you for the memories. right? Continued success to all of you collectively and individually. I thank you so much for using this new technology, right, that we're having here today. But thank you for being a guest on my show today. And I sincerely wish you just all the best. From my heart to yours, I just want to tell you thank you. Thank you so much.
No
Sure, well,
problem.
thank you for being a great listener and fan.
Oh, I'm a huge fan. In fact, I have the CD, and so when I get home tonight, that baby, I'm dropping it right on. I even have the vinyl. But thank you guys so much. Be well. Bye-bye.
See you.
If you're a fan of Dirty Dancing, and even if you're not, you need to become a fan of Dirty Dancing. How fun was that? What a fun visit. Thanks for watching.